Okay, what's up, everybody? Wraith Realm TV back with another review for you guys. It's been a minute since I've done a review. We're going to be reviewing WWE's Crown Jewel Perth 2025 pay-per-view. Make sure to rate, like, and subscribe to the channel if you're on YouTube. If you're on my other video platforms, make sure to be doing the same over on Rumble, BitChute, Dailymotion, and Odyssey, and so forth and so on. If you're on social media, make sure to be doing the same things, liking or following, sharing out the content, and commenting. Now, I need to say some things about Perth 2025 here, or Crown Jewel 2025. I like the fact that it's away from Saudi Arabia, but tonight's show, I don't know what to say about it. Is it worth the $30? Absolutely not. I felt like WWE put a little bit more effort, a little bit more pep in their step to WrestlePalooza here, but I still feel like it was WrestlePalooza-like. I do. I feel like WWE needed to do some things here on this pay-per-view. For instance, they needed to have Division win everything. They had to. You can't have Seth Rollins come in and lose. I still don't understand why we have to have Seth Rollins and Cody for the billionth time, but I understand why they had to have Seth win here. You're putting a lot of stock value and you're putting a lot of time into the vision. And you have to have these payoffs happen. You have to have Big Bronson Reed finally go over. You have to get Braun Breaker to go over. You got to find these ways because the Vision is supposed to be your top tier faction. They're kind of like the bloodline you have. You put Paul Heyman into this. You did all this work. You have to have the Vision go over. Now, what they need to do is they need to put the tag team titles on these guys to make them really a faction, or have one of them win the Intercontinental and then one win the U.S. They got to do something here. They all have to be champions somewhat down the line here, or I feel the Vision's a waste of my time. And I feel Braun Breaker is kind of becoming the same. Spear. And then he did this knee move, which I was like, okay, cool. They're giving him some other moves. You just can't have Braun Breaker just become the same and do the same things. And you can't have Paul Heyman do the same things. You know what I mean? Now, here's the thing that I feel about WWE PLEs. Well, they're calling them PLEs. They still call them pay-per-views. Premium live events. And what they're doing with these premium live events, in my opinion, is I don't like how they're not giving you that big match feel at the very beginning. Like other pay-per-views, they would have like Coachman, and then they would do the music. I wish they would get back to that on ESPN. ESPN has music rights, and they can use like, for instance, they can use a Food Fighters. They could do something of the range of that. You know what I mean? Or, 5 seconds to whatever. They could do music stuff. They could do hard rock. They could do rap. I feel like they should do more of it, and no kickoff show. Like, no pre-show matches. I wish they would go back to that. Like, maybe give us one or two and then lead us into the pay-per-view itself or the PLE. I don't care for Rosenberg. I don't care for all these people talking and, you have all this extra stuff and hokey pokey, them trying out food and all this. I don't care. Give me wrestling matches. Give me like music, like, Stain, whatever. Give me something and make it fun. And I'm surprised with Triple H, since he's a heavy metal person, why we're still doing the rap thing and why we are still trying to be something we're not as a company. But I feel like they're missing at the very beginning of their PLEs. I feel like they're missing something. I just feel that way. That's just me. Personally, my opinion. So we get into Crown Jewel, and they had the Australian street fight, and it was going to go the way of Bronson Reed from the beginning, middle, and end. WWE doesn't really, nowadays, they don't build up to who's going to win. They kind of give it to you at the very beginning of the match, how it's going to build, how it's going to play, and they played it to where Braun Breaker comes out. And as I said at the very beginning, you have to have Division win everything. You can't have Division not win, right? If you have Division win, that makes that faction bigger. They got to make the division bigger, better, bolder, stronger. They have to. Because if you don't, what's the point of having the vision? What's the point of Seth Rollins turning heel and wanting to be on the throne? What's the point? You know what I mean? Again, and I felt this show was a little off with Michael Cole and some of the things that he's been saying. I feel Michael Cole is now becoming heavily scripted. I know that it's kind of becoming like Excalibur over on Collisions and Dynamites. And it's starting to become that way, where Michael Cole is starting to sound the same, generic. Like, I thought with Triple H being at the helm that Michael Cole can relax, say things, but it's now coming off more and more like it's being forced. Like, it's not genuine. It's coming off forced. That's just my personal opinion. Look, you take it or you leave it, but that's how I feel about Michael Cole lately. I just feel like Michael Cole could be doing a lot more for his time, and I feel like if they're giving Michael Cole all these reigns, why are you sounding like Excalibur at times? Like, it's forced. It's like somebody kicked you in the nads and you're like, ee! It's like it doesn't come off the way it needs to come off. And yes, they had the Usos. Yes, they had all this fuckery, but at the end of the day, they had to have Division win. And it's a good move WWE did, because Division was kind of getting stale. It was kind of getting boring to me. So Bronson Reed with a tsunami beats Roman Reigns 1, 2, 3. It was a 20-minute match. It had all this back and forth stuff happening. So it really is what it is, right? At the end of the day, full stop. Now we get to the women's championship. So this is where I was a little bit baffled on why they did what they did, but I understand they were going away. They gave SmackDown the W's last year. Remember? You had Liv Morgan, Cody Rhodes. So I get why they're giving it to Raw. Now they're making the heavyweight champions the A titles. If you have this happen, you have your Raw championship. So does Cody Rhodes become that quarterback? Is he going to get his redemption down the road? And I think that's what they're going to set between him and Seth Rollins down the road, where Cody gets his redemption arc. Now, I don't understand why we have to have Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins for the 15 million time, but I'll get into that with that match. But this one, Stephanie Becker, congratulations. She deserves it. She's been on fire. But you put all this stock value and whatnot into Tiffany Stratton. You had her beat everybody big. So why not have her just win it here and be the ultimate champion? But I get they got to feed Raw this time around, so they fed Stephanie Becker, and Stephanie Becker became a victor. That spinal tap move she does is a beautiful thing. This match was good. It was a better Tiffany Stratton match, and it wasn't predictable, and it wasn't the same mumbo-jumbo shit. Tiffany's actually a really good wrestler. Now people gave me shit when I was a big Tiffany Stratton fan before she became the title. She was in NXT, and I told people, look, she's going to win a bunch of titles eventually, and when she does, are you going to say the same thing? And a lot of people are not saying the same thing. A lot of those haters are now becoming pro Tiffany Stratton fans, and it's crazy. It's wild. But I like Stephanie Becker, and I get why they did. They went pro Raw. They had to. They gave everything to SmackDown last year, so they're giving it pro Raw treatment. So there you go. Now, let's get into, after this match, we went into that. They crowned her and everything. Now, John Cena, AJ Styles. This match is tough for me because they had to give John Cena a victory somewhere. They have to start giving John Cena victories, or they're putting over AJ Styles. These are two people that are retiring. AJ Styles next year and John Cena this year. So it's going to be an end of an era for me when AJ Styles does retire. This match, pile driver or tombstone. They did vintage Randy Orton. They were pulling out moves that they haven't done and copying other wrestlers. This is where I feel personally, yes, it's a fun match. Yes, it has the stuff. But I feel that you're doing a little bit too much. Like, John Cena didn't need to do all these extra moves. Now, he did a tombstone into an AA for the victory. AJ Styles looked a little weird. He kind of was not wearing his typical ring get-up. He was kind of wearing a homage to, I think, Kurt Angle, I think it is, or John Cena itself. And AJ Styles was pulling out moves that he has never done in a minute. And then there was his sister Abigail paying homage to Bray Wyatt. I get it. They have to do all these different finishers, and John Cena's got to look like $1 million in Perth. But it was kind of a circus match, to be honest. And I'm hoping with the last John Cena match coming soon, or the next two matches, the last two, I really hope they, make John Cena go out on a good footnote and make him either put over talent or basically have talent put over him. So we'll see. But this match was a little bit like a circus match to me. It was more like, okay, you're giving John Cena a bone. Okay, AJ Styles will get his eventually. And to me, it's like, okay, it is what it is. End of story, full stop. And Cole also gave out a shout out to Mario Ronaldo. That was a few things. Mario Ronaldo was getting shouted out a lot. So I think WWE's maybe trying to bring him back in. Maybe they're trying to. I would like to see Mario Ronaldo get a job in wrestling somewhere. He was working great with TNA for a while there, but haven't seen him in a minute outside of the fighting and mixed martial arts stuff. So John Cena won. That was a 27-minute match, basically paying homage. Then you had Rhea Ripley and Io Sky versus Asuka, Kairi Sane, the Kabuki Warriors. And, I'm going to say this. I like Rhea Ripley a lot, and I like Io Sky. I think the tag team's going to be amazing. It's different. But they did a lot of hokey-pokey stuff, and eventually Rhea Ripley and Io Sky got the victory. But, it's the same thing with how I feel about Bronson Reed match. You don't need to do all this circus stuff to make Big Bronson Reed look like Big Bronson Reed. Bronson Reed could have beaten and finished off. You got to make these stars look bigger. I get why Rhea and Io are a tag team and why they're probably going to win the tag team titles eventually is because they have nothing going on for them. Where Rhea easily can go down to an intercontinental situation or a U.S. And same with Io, and you can elevate those divisions, but they got to elevate the tag team division because there's really nothing outside of Tsurugo and, that situation. And that looks like it's coming to a, and Zarya coming to an end kind of with the, they're feuding. And I don't understand NXT. The things about WWE that I don't understand right now is their shows are out of order and out of place. And I'm giving this show, honestly, I'm going to give this show, outside of of Raw getting all the victories and the belts, I am giving this show, literally, I'm giving it a B-. The show wasn't trash. It was better than WrestlePalooza. It did not put me to sleep. And it did not, and let me be real, it did not feel like it was rushed or it was predictable or it was this, that, and a third. It actually had a beginning, middle, and end. It wasn't Trash Town. People could sit all day long and you could sit here all day and tell me until I'm blue in the face, well, WWE's been doing great things. Have they? Because WrestlePalooza was bombed bad. Raws and SmackDowns have been bad to this buildup of Crown Jewel. They finally came around in the last 2 weeks, but it's been bad. Now, I will give WWE their credit when they want to put some work into something and they want to show off what their PLEs look like. They do a good job. They do a decent job. And this show was a decent job. It seemed like Triple H was not sleeping at the wheel. Like, again, Triple H has been sleeping at the wheel for quite a while. It's just, I'm sorry. It's not just me saying that. It just looks like Road Dogg is now controller of SmackDown as far as creative booking. That came out. So if you have Road Dogg doing that, so pretty much Triple H is the overseer and you have all these other people. It just seems like to me it's a Triple H orchestra and he calling the shots, and then Road Dogg and Shawn Michaels just putting their little spin or spit shine on it, and that's how we're doing it. You know what I mean? So Io Sky and Rhea Ripley, to be honest with you, it was a good match. Wasn't terrible. It wasn't the worst. You got to give Rhea Ripley the victory. She's done everything for you. Give her that hometown send off, and that's what they did. and a Riptide 1-2-3. It was pretty good. And a moonsault. There was a couple of moves by Asuka and also Kairi saying they were like telling back the time. And again, the Kabuki Warriors as a heel faction, I like them as a heel faction. I think it works better. And I think the tag team division, the women's tag team division, I think they're going to be firing up this division a little bit more. They have to. This division's been kind of dead in the ground. And I feel the same way when AEW is going to do it with their women's division. I feel like, what women do they have there that consider? But I also thought, okay, they could put Athena and Billy Starks there and have them be your inaugural AEW Women's Champions. They could. They want to go that way. Also, Mercedes Moné has talked about the Renegade Twins, so we'll see how that goes. But again, Rhea Ripley, again, one hell of a talent. Anything she does, I'm there. Mommy is great. Keep Rhea Ripley face. She is just too good at what she does. She's just too good. And same with Io Sky. I think this pairing is going to be pretty good going forward. Now we get to this men's crown jewel champion. I don't understand the crown jewel stuff. Is this, you don't get to carry the belt? I think it was Braun Strowman was the only one that was carrying the belt when they first did it. But here I just feel, honestly, like, who cares? These championship, it's more champion versus champion and who's going to rule dominance going forward. And to me, I guess it's Seth Rollins. They had to have Raw. Then they had, like, they were playing off the watch, like it's nunchucks or a KO punch type deal with the ring, like MJF does. They're playing it off like that. And I don't know who's booking this, but it reminds me so much of what AEW does with MJF. I like when they do it with MJF, brass knucks, whatever. But it just comes off in WWE land like, oh, this is what we're doing. Okay, you can't have Seth Rollins win clean, so you have to have him do this, that, and a third to win. And it's coming very apparent with Seth Rollins that you have to have him cheat to win or have him do this, that, and a third to win. It's going to get old eventually. You can't have Seth Rollins keep winning and cheating factions, because then you're going to start making the comparisons to Roman Reigns. You're going to start making the comparison to other factions that are doing this. And how many times do we need to see Braun Breaker come in? Now, I want to make this very clear. I am not saying that, I'm not trying to be negative. It's just how WWE's been presenting their stuff lately and when they've been doing on the shows. You could sit here all day and tell me that I'm wrong and I don't understand wrestling, but I go watch the other product nowadays, and yeah, Darby Allin threw a Molotov, whatever, and yeah, that was a little bit much, but their shows have been a little bit better, and it keeps me more entertained. I don't feel like I'm 5 minutes into a match and I'm already yawning, or I'm already feeling it's predictable. And I feel like they're trying so hard to be those 5-star matches for Dave Meltzer. They're trying so hard to be those big reviews. And the thing is, if WWE is getting review bombed real bad by the communities and everything, they should be stepping up their game. For $30, they should be giving you more. And I was telling somebody in my house today after watching it, and they were getting up and everybody's doing the reviews right now. I just turned around and I said, look, if you're making me pay $30 freaking dollars, right? $30 freaking dollars out the door, right? You're making me pay this kind of money, and you're giving me mid-card pay-per-views, then we have a problem. And that's what WWE is doing. They're giving me mid-card pay-per-views, or PLEs, and they're making people pay an arm and a leg to go to these shows. You do expect someone in the ballpark of an 8 out of an 8 or 9 out of a 9 pay-per-view. I feel like WWE in this pay-per-view tried too much. They're trying too much. They're trying to be too much. Yeah, I get they have to have the hometown talent, the homegrown talent win. I get they have to have Raw here win. You have to make the division look good. You have to make them look good finally, because they are looking like whatevers. You know what I mean? They're looking like whatevers. And you have to have them come out and win. That's the thing here. But when it all comes down to everything, it's just like, it feels like this pay-per-view was kind of, some of these matches were way overboard. Way too much for me. Now, I felt the John Cena match was a cool, fun match. But when you're doing all these extra moves and you're trying so hard to put Cena over, it falls flat in my eyes. And I get why they're doing it, because of the backlash that they're getting with John Cena's final last 3 matches here. I get it. I understand it. But when you have, and it was fun. Don't get me wrong. I marked out to a lot of it. But again, as I will tell you guys left, right, and center, you have to literally make the matches believable. And tonight I just felt like with Michael Cole, I felt with a lot that was going on with some of the matches, I just felt it was forced. I felt Michael Cole is scripted at this point. And if I have to hear him talk like Excalibur, it just feels like Michael Cole's forced now. And I feel like Michael Cole has to feel like he has to do more to make things great. And when Michael Cole starts cursing and stuff, or starts saying this, that, and the third, and he goes back to that PG era kind of deal, it kind of makes me just go, are you scripted or not scripted? I appreciate him, pushing out, hey, Mario Ronaldo, some of the stuff paying homage, but it comes off forced. It comes off scripted. It comes off like it falls flat in my eyes at times. And, again, like when you have Wade Barrett or you have, all these people behind him, it just feels like it falls flat. Or, you have Corey Graves or whatever. It just feels like it falls flat, sometimes when it comes to Michael Cole. But when Michael Cole's on one, he's one of the best commentators to ever live, to ever do it. Next to Jim Ross, next to Tony Schiavone, next to Kevin Kelly, right? Now, I said Kevin Kelly, and he's a piece of garbage, but you get the point. Like Ia Kabani, Caprice Coleman, I can go on and on and on. Vampiro, Matt Stryker to an extent. I could just go on and on with great commentary, so on. Joe Tessitore to an extent. I like Joe Tessitore to an extent. I like his college football more than I do his WWE stuff. But anyway, you guys get the point when it comes to me. This show wasn't terrible. I am going to give this a solid 6.75. It was decent. It's a B- offering. I would say 6.75 or 7. I think a B- is perfect there. C, B-. We're in that ballpark. I'm not going to say this was not watchable. It was watchable. It was better than WrestlePalooza. But again, when you're expecting people to pay $30 in America for ESPN Unlimited, yes, and I think they put this on Hulu and other places too, but $30 is $30. And my thing is with that, if you're charging a premium, you got to come out swinging with your PLEs. That's where I give AEW credit that when they're charging for pay-per-views. If you're charging $30 for pay-per-views, you got to make that pay-per-view worth that money. You got to give me the payoff. And in WWE land, if you're not really giving me that payoff, then, these shows are going to be dissected. Every one of them leading up to the first year is going to be dissected. And we're going to find out, is it worth it or not? Especially with Disney and ESPN and the NFL that has a stake in things in ESPN and the parent company of Disney, then you really got to go, when they up the prices, is the PLEs going to be worth it? Because ESPN, Disney, and all that are all talking about $40 a month coming soon. So this was purely my opinion about the show. You could take it or you could leave it, however you prefer. But when it comes to wrestling, I've been tending to more go AEW, and that's just been because I feel like my intelligence is being insulted over here. I feel the matches are becoming the same, and I feel like we're getting the same. But I could say in this pay-per-view, they're at least are pushing, Rhea and Io Sky. They're pushing Seth Rollins and the Vision finally, and it's not becoming the same muck every week on Raws and SmackDown. And, finally Cody Rhodes gets a loss. Thank God for that. Thank God Tiffany Stratton gets a loss, but at the same time, Tiffany should have won this one more than, Stephanie Vaquer. But I get why they have to give Stephanie Vaquer a push. They have to. They pushed her in NXT. They pushed her here and all that stuff. So, anyway, that's my opinion. I would say C, B-. 6.75, 7. That's just my review. That's how I feel about WWE right now. I think WWE's got a lot to improve on, and I think, I think they're somewhat listening because of the backlash. They made this pay-per-view stand out a little bit more than WrestlePalooza. And I feel like it was actually, when WWE is not being rushed to make a pay-per-view, they're doing a good job. Anyway, my name is Wraith Realm TV. Make sure to rate, like, and subscribe. Make sure to check out all my other platforms. I am back better than ever, baby, and I will see you guys on the next one. Peace.